Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby, representing Team Kings of Games. And today I'm going to be showcasing you guys Odd Ice. It's not pure, but it is my take on Odd Ice. Because honestly, whenever I play Odd Ice, there's certain engines that I do incorporate to raise my ceiling, allow me to put up better boards too, because there's certain cards that Odd Ice just doesn't have access to that really do help you to play around like Dark Ruler and give you interruptions that you don't need your extra deck to use, and help you to break boards going second, which is really good, and bait interruptions and negations, which really helpful. Other than using Spiral Flame Strike to like bait and negate, you know, it's nice to have more ways to do it. So let's get right to the list. As you guys can see, I'm playing 60 card pendulums like I normally do. I am like that dude. When it comes to 60 card pendulums, I'm the one that's faithful with it, consistently always playing 60 card pendulums. And not only have I proven that it's worked, I've topped nationals, multiple regionals, ARG circuit series. Like, I've topped so many events playing 60 card pendulums, which is really, really strong. Just proving to you guys that you don't have to play 40 cards to get a W. And honestly, now Dragon Link is a 60 card deck, so even people playing Dragon Link understand that it's not like a law that you have to play 40 cards to catch a dub. But honestly, with this deck's amount of deck thinners and its consistency and just the ability to search out the cards you need and having access to multiple cards, and when I say multiple, I mean like your 3-ups can be searchable by other 3-ups, if that makes sense. So that's like you're playing like 6 of those at that point, you know what I'm saying? So the deck really does have a way to get access to the cards that access you other cards, which is really good. So your searchers search for searchers, which is really good. So like this deck's very consistent. I'm not gonna waste too much time. I'm gonna get right into the list, you guys. So as you guys can see, I'm playing 3 arcs. This is Odd Ice, but I incorporated some ENDYMION cards, Pendulum Magicians, and I love my Mythical Beast. We'll get there when we get there, but Arc is really good. This is the reason why I do play 2 Vortex, because I'm adamant on properly summoning my Vortex. I actually do that. A lot of people don't do that, but I properly summon my Vortex. You guys probably wonder how. Hello. We'll get there when we get there, but I'm already giving it away. He does do that. So properly summoning your Vortex is really good, because now Arc can bring it back. Like on your opponent's turn, when they try to OTK you, summoning Vortex from grave, bouncing and negating at the same time is really busted. And also on your turn, when you trigger Arc off of Sky Iris pop Arc to search, search off Sky Iris, separate chain Arc, bring back Vortex. So like you have actual ways to remake the boards, even if your board gets broken, because that's how good Arc is. He's really strong. Really, really great card, and he summons from hand too. So you know, sometimes it's too gas. Sometimes you end up Pendulum summoning, and you still have cards in your hand that you can't use. So he can summon like Persona. If your hand's too fat, he summons Persona from your hand too, which is really incredible. And he can even summon Dissolver from your hand turn 1 off of Sky Iris, and you can use him to fusion summon with your Pendulum skills to make a Vortex, which is broken. So yeah, Arc's amazing. You can play 2, but I really like him. He's like, if it's not him, I would probably have Magister as my high skill. So it's going to be either like Magister, Chronograph, or Arc, but honestly, because this is Odd Ice, Arc works like a lot better. Second best is probably like Magister, because he's like MVP. He's like one of my favorites. Then I play 1 Dragon Pit to have a searchable 8 scale off of Pin Call. That's a level 7, so I can go Meteor Burst for Absolute and do my Vortex play that way. Really good against back row decks too. Like when you play like grindy back row decks, having Oath Dragon and Dragon Pit is really exceptional. Being able to add from extra deck to hand every turn and then pop a back row, which is really nice. You can even just pitch the card that you added, honestly. Then I play 3 Revolution. This card's amazing for this deck, honestly. People are kind of overhyping him though, because actually all he really does if you splash him is most of the time search either an Amorphage or like a Dark Worm. Not to say that's not good, but he's definitely not like, you know, the savior of pendulums or anything like that. He's just another searcher, and what he does for this deck, since it's Odd Ice, is he can actually do something similar to Arc, and he can special summon your Odd Ice monsters like your Vortex, your Meteor Burst, from your graveyard. What's so broken about this, popping him and summoning Meteor Burst, is when Meteor Burst is special summoned, he can special one of your scales. So you can actually do like Revolution for Meteor Burst summon a 7, go into Absolute, declare an attack with Absolute, negate Absolute's effect, negate his attack with his own effect, and then resummon your Vortex from grave that was properly summoned, which is like a really, really cool big brain play that you could do with this deck, and you do it off of just the 1 Revolution. So not only does he search, but if you play actual Odd Eyes, his scale effect's amazing. You don't like to leave him in scale though, because you can only Pendulum summon dragons. So if you scale him, it's because you're using his Pendulum scale effect. But yeah, when you splash him, most people just literally just search Dark Worm, which he does let you get access to Guard Dragons. I don't play Guard Dragons in my deck. The way I summon my Morphage is like superior in my opinion, because the way I summon it plays around Droplets, it plays around Dark Ruler no more. And also, it plays around Spear Mode and Lava Golem and Kaijus. So that's the other thing. I just want to get that out the way right now. The way I play my Odd Eyes with my Morphage cards, I feel is superior to what people are doing. Even popular, Pendulum players, I don't know if Jeremy Mitchell's doing that necessarily, but I honestly, Pendulum players that I respect Jeremy Mitchell, I respect Triff, and then I respect Izzy Cruz. Like me, Izzy Cruz, Mitchell, Triff, and probably like, well, he don't really play like that no more, but it used to be Coopstar cards. Like those to me are like, we're all like advocates for Pendulums that not only know how to play this deck, not only how to build it right, but we've also topped multiple competitive high-level events with Pendulums. Every single one of us. What I will say is some of them, like maybe Triff, for example, I'm pretty sure he's using Guard Dragons to summon Sloth. So that does not play around Lava Golem, it doesn't play around Spear Mode, it doesn't play around Kaijus, it doesn't play around Dark Ruler, and it doesn't play around Forbidden Droplets. Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spears plays around Dark Ruler, Droplets, Kaijus, Lava Golems, and Spear Mode. So that's why I prefer this way versus the Guard Dragons. Because honestly, also, I like being able to trigger my Magister on my opponent's turn in addition to all of that, which is really good, you know? So, and also, you will be able to, like, do a lot more. Because Heretic is a bounce that doesn't target. And also, if your opponent Dark Rulers, you tribute him for cost and get his graveyard effect anyways, and you can put your opponent under a Sloth. If you start off your combo with Sloth, and your opponent is just really nice, and they're like, ha ha ha, I drew double Dark Ruler, I drew Droplets in Dark Ruler, you know, it happens, I drew Spear Mode. You're going to get your Sloth Spear Moded and your two best negators, and they're probably going to be able to break your board. But with the Heretic summoning Sloth, that's like the best way. So like, the way I use Odd Eyes Revolution is to not actually just do Pin Call Dark Worm. I use him to recur my properly summoned Vortex. I also use him to summon my Meteor Burst, so I can go into Absolutes, because I'm always ready for my next turn. And then also, you know, sometimes I just use him to search Dark Worm for Pin Call Dark Worm, which is amazing. So this card, it's the way I'm using it, I use it in multiple applications versus just searching Dark Worm, basically, which is more often than not what most people do. And if they don't do that, they probably search the Amorphage. But I like to summon it off of the Spears, so my opponent doesn't even know that I'm playing it until they see it. Next up, I played 3 Master Cerbers. So I know some people hate on this card, but I will say, to be honest, Master Cerberus, I'm saying this delicately, he requires the attention of an interruption. Did y'all hear me? I said Master Cerberus requires, it's mandatory, the attention of an interruption. Because here's what happens. You scale them, they're going to Ash Blossom if they have it. If they don't have an Ash, they're going to Cyclone if they have it. If they don't have a Cyclone, they're going to Ghost Ogre if they have it. If they don't have that, they're going to Borreload Savage if they have it. They are going to use a negate. Why, 3 stacks? Why would they negate Master Cerberus? Because they want you to have a 4 scale so that they think that you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because you can't Pendulum Summon level 4s. That's what they thinking. That's what they're thinking. You're going to be able to Pendulum Summon out Jackal Kings, Endymions, Reflections, and level 7s to go into Absolute Vortex anyways. And on top of that, I'm about to just normal summon my Magister, baby. That's what I'm fixing to do. And on top of that, if they don't negate it when you're going second, you're just going to use Jackal King to summon him out from your extra deck, and now they have to negate. So no matter what, whether they wait for Cerberus to resolve and then they're like, nah, I negate Jackal King, they're going to bait and interrupt. And if you guys are scared of, oh, what if my opponent Buster Lock me and I can't use my extra deck, play Mythical Beast Garuda and then just target the Buster. And now if they don't negate it, you can use your extra deck now. So no matter what anybody says, Master Cerberus either baits an interrupt or cracks a negate. And also going second, he beats over Dragoon, because if you banish anything with 1200 or more attack, he's going to be bigger than Dragoon. or he can crash into your Dragoon. And on top of that, him plus Master of Endymion is just insane. It's insane, because like you're banishing and you're destroying multiple cards. He gets huge attack boost. You can summon him off of Servant Endymion from your deck for when you're going second to get aggressive and OTK your opponent. When you have a bunch of spell counters on your field, you activate his effect, your opponent tries to negate and destroy. He's going to stay on the field. He's not actually like, his effect to banish on field, if you read it, is not hard once per turn. So you can summon one off of Jackal King, another one off of Servant, and then you can resolve Magister to summon him a third time. So you can get a bunch of banishes. You know something else that people really sleep on about Cerberus is he banishes Golden Lord. He banishes Golden Lord. Even if Golden Lord is at 3500 attack and he can be destroyed by card effects, guess what? You target him and banish him, you're going to gain his attack, his original attack, so you're going to be at 5300. And guess what else? When you summon him with enough spell counters, they can't even chain Conquistador. They have to literally Conquistador the scale. I told you it always baits to interrupt. And banishing Golden Lords against Eldritch is amazing, because once you use his effect twice, that's why I say you could use it multiple times. They don't have any Golden Lords unless they play 3. Which they played 3, now they're playing with only 1 Golden Lord. So I don't care what anybody says. The fact that people are cutting this card and saying it's bad, honestly, they're probably just listening to what other people play and versus their own experience. My personal experience with Cerberus, this card has just like been so clutch for me. Like, and I've talked so many times with lists that play Cerberus in them. I don't think I've ever taken him out of my list. Then I play one Dissolver. This card's amazing too, because he can fusion summon for Vortex properly. His best way to fusion is when he's on field, because you can use your Pendulum zones as fusion materials. And then what he also does is, when I use my Heretic Dragon of Heavenly Spheres to bounce and summon Sloth, my opponent's gonna have to use their battle phase to beat over Sloth, because like they can't really play through the negates and then like pop Sloth. They need an effect to destroy him, because you have negates, you can just negate whatever effects destroy him. So now they have no choice but to go into battle phase and attack over this 0 attack monster. And at the start of the damage step, you're going to reveal Dissolver in hand, and now Sloth cannot be destroyed by battle, and your opponent's just not going to be able to use, like, they're not going to be able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Then I play double Endymion. If you're not playing pure, you don't have to play 3. In this list, it's totally fine to play 2. This card is amazing in tandem with Magister. I love doing that, because when I use Magister, this is another reason why I feel like people are just need to stop. Like bro, don't cut Magister. He's too good. If you like feel like he's terrible, play him at a 1-up. Play him as a 1-up, because this card is exceptional. He's really good. I love you. The reason why he's better than leaving like Endymion or Jackal King is because he summons either one of them respectively. That also means if you are playing against Eldritch and you put up Jackal King, he might not do much. If you put up Endymion and you're playing against Dragon Link, he might not do much. But if you put up Magister and you're playing against any one of those decks, whether it's combo or control, you get the choice to summon the card that's appropriate for the matchup. You play combo, bring out Jackal King. You play back row decks, bring out Endymion or Reflection. So like he's really beastie with Reflection, I mean with Magister, because not only does Magister summon him, but you also get to use his effect to bounce Magister if he was summoned with a spell counter. Then he's going to go back to your hand, so you can next turn scale him and use his effect again. So like I love Endymion bouncing Magister and bouncing Servant too, which is really busted. So like Endymion is really always going to be able to set you up to be able to OTK your opponent, because he bounces some of the most powerful cards that you have in your scales back to your hand, or if they're on your field, you bounce them from your field to your hand, so next turn you can OTK your opponent. So like he's really good with Magister. That's what I really wanted to say. And then I played the one OG, you know, you just gotta respect it. He's a searchable low scale off of Spiral Flame Strike or Sky Iris. Really, Sky Iris can search Persona, but off Spiral Flame Strike, you can only search 7s. That's why it's important to play one. And then once you scale them and you're done with them, you just pop them and get a search. You didn't see Harmonizing, search Harmonizing. You know, whatever has the appropriate attack. Search like Persona, you know, search Servant, because she has, as you can see, 1500 or less attack. Search Magister, he has 1500 or less attack. You know, there's a lot that you can actually search. You can even search Celestial, which is really cool. Reflection's amazing. Being able to bounce cards on your opponent's turn via Celine, or even summoning him off of Magister, summoning her off of Magister is great. She's really good to help you grind too, because honestly with Pendulums, you have to be ready for your next turn. You can't just assume that your board is just unbreakable, because there's too many haymakers now. There's too many equalizers. There's evenly Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm, Droplets, there's Spear Mode, Lava Golem, Kaijus, and then there's also decks that are just way too good. Like sometimes your opponent is just like, I played through your negates, now what? It's crazy. So then we play double Jackal King. It's absolutely correct to play 2. 1 Sloth, you summon it off of the Heretic. That's the only time you want to do that. And also, I'm playing him over Buster Lock now because he is a Pendulum. So worst case scenario, drawing him versus the Buster Lock, I can at least still activate him in scale. That's the only reason. And also, me setting up Buster Lock turn 1 against my opponent, it is better than Sloth in the sense that I can use my extra deck still, but I still do lose to Lava Golems and Kaiju in Spear mode. So that's why it's really nice that I'm playing Odd Eyes, because I do summon a lot of dragons, and this card can be made, which is really good. Then we play Oath Dragon, really good for your grind, so that you can have like a second turn, just being able to recur, like your harmonizing, your one of harmonizing use her again, and also adding value for your Dragon Pit. 3 Chronograph, you play against Zexal, just set monster pass, they attack, reveal Chronograph, summon like Persona, or Indy, or Reflection, or like Jackal King. Like, it's just so good. So Chronograph also plays around the Zexal deck, which Zexal is kind of like not popular. I think like people that are playing Zexal now are more than likely like the same people that play like Mystic Mine and like True Dracos and stuff like that. So anyways, moving forward, 2 Personas. Persona is just really incredible, you guys. You can also, if you're playing like, you know, like if you just need the Persona instead of the Sloth, you can just summon Persona off of Heretic. That makes Heretic always is going to be 2 interrupts by itself. It's going to be a bounce plus either negate or an extra deck lock. So this card is just broken. It really is. Double Dark Worm, it's absolutely mandatory to play at least 2, because if you draw it now, like basically hard drawing it is good, but like it really sucks sometimes, like just hard drawing it, because you'd rather search it when you need it, to be honest. But like hard drawing it's not that bad, honestly, but you need to play 2. Like, you gotta play 2, you really do. And then we play Triple Abductor. She's like one of the best low scale Pendulum monsters in the game. She's so good. I don't play Magician Soul in this list because it's more like of a eccentric Odd Eyes with splashed ENDYMION and Mythical Beast cards. I play for some Magician targets for Pendulum Claw. 1 Celestial, 1 Purple Poison, really good against rogue decks. Purple Poison's broken. There was a list I played 3 of this card because it's so good. And then we play the Harmonizing and Time Gazer, you know, Chronograph, and also being a target for Harmonizing to make Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst really good in this deck. Properly summon him. Now you can start recurring Meteor Burst off of Pendulum, Arc Pendulum, and also Revolution, and every time Meteor Burst is special, you bring out one of your scales, and his effect in battle phase is just incredible. So yep, she's really good. And then we play the 1 in Servant, because you know she's at 1. Servant and Magister are, you know, like respectively, like probably outside of like I would say scaling like Arc, these are probably like the best Pendulum scales you could ever activate. Like Abductor is good too because she searches, but like these just do a lot more, because whatever you would normally search off Abductor, you could just summon it off of these. So these are kind of like the best scales in your deck. Then we play Blue Boy, Triple Allure, 1 Knowledge, 3 Duelist Alliance. This is a 1 card, 3 spell counters for any Magister, Servant, or Abductor, which is really good. And you know, load your grave with spells for Celine's awesome. 3 Masteries, 3 Pen Calls, 1 Upstart, 1 Terraforming for Sky Iris. Triple Spiral Flame Strike. This card's not once per turn. And when you're going second, you just activate an Odd Eye Scale, and then activate this target card. They negate it. You know, so you bait a negate with it, which is really, really good. You have multiples, you can bait a couple negates, and also it does load spell counters, which is really good because you could basically add Arc, and then that makes this card 2 spell counters in 1. So like even with Abductor, or if you're trying to trigger Servant, activate this. Because if you don't control an Odd Eyes card, like you can't target a card and pop it. That's also nice when your opponent Ash Blossoms your Master Service and you want to, like you actually want to Pendulum Summon Level Force. Because the only time you Pendulum Summon Level Force is literally like for Harmonizing. So all Ashing Service does is turn off Harmonizing. Like with Magister of ENDYMION, you can still just normal summon him. And pretty much everything else that matters is all higher than level 4. So like the scale being Ash doesn't really hurt. But if you need to, you can just pop your own Cerberus. And then also the Spellbook of Secrets, the Knowledge and the Blue Boy, just to search off Crowley, the 1 into the Void, and triple Sky Iris. So as you guys can see, this is the list. Sky Iris, I will say, has added value. Being able to turn into like a huge follow-up, it not only triggers Arc, but it's really amazing that you can both trigger Arc off of this, search a card like Revolution, trigger Arc's effect to special summon, search Revolution, activate Revolution, pop him to special again. So like if you have like low resources, little to no cards, and all you have is like Sky Iris, Arc, and like for example Persona in scale, and you're like in a bad position, your opponent broke your board but they couldn't OTK you, and it's kind of like you're kind of grinding, you just Sky Iris, pop Persona, search this, trigger him, special summon your properly summoned Vortex from grave, and then you can activate him, use his effect, pop himself, bring out Meteor Burst, and use Meteor Burst to summon out your Arc, and like you have 25, 27, and 25 on board already, plus a Negator, then you can overlay into Absolute, and you can declare an attack with Absolute, use him to bring back like your Meteor Burst again, which is like just busted. So good. Just to be able to protect yourself from like monster effects of battle phase, or you could just bring out Arc again, or just bring out like Persona if he's engraved. Like that play is just really good. Sky Iris is amazing. So I play double Vortex because you need to be able to properly summon at least one. For me, you don't need to, but this is how I play. As you guys see, I just play differently. But like properly summoning Vortex is really good for Odd Eyes so that you can recur him off Arc, off of Revolution, and then that's where Sky Iris becomes really good. Savage. Meteor Burst is broken in this deck, and so is Absolute. These give you follow-ups, which is really good, because they just keep bringing back Vortex and like your Odd Eyes monsters from Grave and your Pendulum Scales. The fact that Meteor Burst can also just special summon Magister, if you scaled him and like, you know, just for example, just for a high scale, couldn't get enough spell counters, just bring him out. That way you could use him on your opponent's turn to just special summon something, which is really good. Or bringing out Indy is good. Or even just bringing out Master Service from your Pendulum Zone off of Meteor Burst is really broken too, because now you can use his effect to just banish something. Dweller, because it's a win con, best ring 4 in the game. Access code, you can OTK without it, but it's just nice. Appaloosa, so when you're in nice hands, you just put up Heretic and then put Appaloosa under him. Or you could just like set up IP to like link into it on your opponent's turn. But I wouldn't recommend it because sometimes you might have to use the bounce before the IP. That means slots coming out, no extra deck. So sometimes you just put Appaloosa under your Heretic. And in times where you don't need the extra deck lock, Selene is always going to be better against like back row decks like Altergeist and Eldritch and Dragma, because you could basically just summon cards like Empress or Reflection, my bad, and also Endymion from your grave so that you can negate or bounce stuff. Which is really, really good. So like she's really good against back row decks. One Crowley, one IP, one Cross Sheep for combo, and Heretic Dragon of Heavenly Spheres, or Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. I've been calling this card the wrong name the whole time. Probably the best Link 2 in the entire extra deck. He's like so good. This is good to start you off, but like this card just wins duels. And then as you guys see, I side to break the board rather than prevent it from happening. So 3 Lava Golems, 3 Denkos, 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Dark Lord, 3 Evenly. So basically, I'm not trying to prevent the board from happening. I'm just going to break it. So if I'm up against like, the only deck I could think of that can do something about these is Infernoble, because they can rip one from your hand. But against like Dragon Link, Combo Eldritch, you know, any other deck that like is just a combo deck, for example, you know, whatever it is, you could just break their board anyway. Especially against like Dragma, Dinko, Lightning Storm, and Evenly is just so good. So good, especially like Dinko against Eldritch Dragma. Like pretty much all their interruptions are coming from their back row, minus like Flare Delis and Hand Traps. So minus Flare Delis and Hand Traps, like that's pretty much all their interrupts. What's also really good is if you play against Combo Eldritch with like the Synchro package and the Dragma cards, Dinko turns off the punishment and the Eldritch spells and traps, and also like Lava Golem, Dark Ruler, or even like just like Lightning Storm, or like, you know, whatever, like any one of those other equalizers, like is so good. So this is why it's really good to side all of these cards, because when you open them in combination with each other, they normally just break boards. Like Dark Ruler plus Evenly, you know, Lightning Storm, Dark Ruler, Evenly, Lightning Storm, Dinko, plus like Lightning, because you could just normal her and just activate Lightning on their back rows to get rid of them. Or like Lava Golem, like Lava Golem plus Dinko is really good. I mean, not Dinko, but Lava Golem plus like Lightning Storm's really good. Or even like evenly matched, because like basically like you can Golem their monsters. Like I'm talking about combo Eldritch. Like you could Golem their Savage and their Arclight, then Lightning Storm their back rows, and then just play Yu-Gi-Oh anyways. And you don't really need your normal summon. You have the Pendulum mechanic. You just pin summon. So yeah, these are really good. And against Buster Lock is really good too. For Adamanticators and Dragon Link, Lava Golem is really, really good against those decks, because you can just hit the cards that matter. Appaloosa is not that good against Pendulums. It's really not. So you're just more concerned about Savage and Arclight. So like just by Lava Golem, the Savage, and the Arclight, you already take care of the extra deck lock, and also you take care of the Omni Negates. So all you have to really worry about is if it's Dragon Link, the Heretic, if they play it, you know. But if it's against Adamanticators, you just hit Borload, Savage, and Arclight, and you deal with the IP Masquerena and the Appaloosa, just because your deck's so good already inherently by itself. So this is a really good way to side against those kind of decks. Because honestly, going first, you don't really need a side deck, because you already have like all your lockouts, which is really good. But things could change, because if Zexo becomes like more popular than it is, then you're probably gonna have to side like Droplets or Chalice or Imperms. And it's just really nice. I would even say for like Infernobles, you could side like Slumbers and Kaijus, because at least that way, like opening any one of those or two of those, if you open a Kaiju and a Slumber, your opponent has to discard one, but you keep the other. And like Slumber is so broken if they like discard. So like that's just like some things, like some ideas that I had. But honestly, I like this. And things that could change is you could probably just change up the side deck, but this is how I'm siding for right now. Siding to break the board rather than prevent it from happening. So yeah, that's the profile. I'm doing dual videos separate. So let me know what you guys think of the list. I really don't mind like constructive criticism and things of that nature. If you guys feel like your list is better, or you feel like there's improvements that can be made, I will hear you out. But I will say I'm pretty set on my list. I'm not really gonna change it. I'm enjoying it. I'm kind of just only iffy on like maybe Oath and like Dragon Pit, because like they're not necessary. They're just extra targets for pin call, but they do give you utility that is really like valuable in certain scenarios. But other than that, I really do like my list, and it's just the way I'm playing, you know, because I don't play like pretty much a lot of the people that play Pendulums are gonna either follow like Mitchell's lists, my lists, Triff Gaming lists, or they're gonna do their own thing. Those are like the four things. They're either gonna do their own thing, or they're gonna follow like the Pendulum playing YouTubers, and they're gonna do what they do. So like if you're following them, your mindset is gonna be like theirs. Your mindset is gonna be like mine. Your mindset is gonna be like Triff's. Your mindset is gonna be like Jeremy Mitchell. So that means what they feel is correct, or what I feel is correct, you're gonna think is correct. So when you see somebody doing something that's not what I would recommend, or what Triff would recommend, or what Jeremy Mitchell would recommend, you're going to tell that person they're incorrect. But they're not incorrect, they're just thinking differently from you, you know. So always keep that in mind. But I'm out, you guys. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Jesus. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth just as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, Lord, and please forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, Father, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the power forever. In the mighty name of Jesus I pray. Hallelujah. Amen. All right, you guys. Deuces.